Today, just like any other day, I am doing what millions of other people are doing. I'm making a video to upload to YouTube. Now, this was what I was doing today, and this is this afternoon on the 18th of March, the second day of the lockdown in place in France. We are in the year 2020, and I was in the garden, got the old camera out, filming the cats, who of course are totally immune to any lockdown processes, and being cats, oblivious to everything but le bonheur, as we say in France. Look at those claws. So we're in a situation here where she's climbing up there and she's going to go for a walk. We're in a situation also of great fear everywhere, and this was this evening's sunset, setting the same for all over the world, for all people at different times, but this is what happened in eastern France. That was the moment. And if you're old and if you're ill, it is a very, very, very worrying time, clearly. And so I wanted to say that, and I've done a few recordings over this, and I say a few, I've done a lot. I've done one in French, I've done one in English, I've done singing, I've done songs, but no commentary on what's going on, particularly whether it's good or bad to be locked down. This is just a day in the life of one YouTube video among millions, and we're all on the same ship, sailing into whatever future we share. And who can say who's got the best system? Who can say whether it'll be worth it in the end to be locked up and curtailed? There you go, you see, I've run out of video, and now this has been part of the problem in making the soundtrack, because it's actually quite a short video, really. Yeah. Me personally, I feel well off comparatively, because although I lost a load of money, I lost my savings recently. I was robbed pretty much at gunpoint by bad chance, and the relentless rise of the markets prior to them falling. So I was closed out of the short on the 7th of February, something like that. And because I've lost my regular source of income, and I had to get my car fixed, which cost me 450 fucking euros, and I had to get Tom sorted out, and there were a few other things. Basically, I had no money. I didn't have any money coming in. It was just so financially, apart from that, I am in a good off position. I should be a lot better off. I should be $5,000 better off. I'd like to give you the exact figures, but I don't have my $5,000 anymore. I lost it, my savings for 2 years, but I don't have any children. I don't have a nagging wife, or if I was a man, if I was a woman, a nagging husband, right? I'm not locked up going crazy with somebody. On the other hand, this is the sort of things people say half jokingly, half serious, maybe very serious. If you're in a relationship that's like, this is going to be a test, right, for people in France now, or for anybody in lockdown in any other European country. Germany are not doing it. They said, no, we're just like Holland, we'll try and let people be sensible. Here it's like, it's not possible to be sensible. Apparently you can't trust the people. Oh no, you got to lock. 100,000 gendarmes on an army on the streets, and for the postal service has stopped working. Life has kind of ground. Well, I don't know. I don't watch too much TV, so I know it's chaotic and it's costing a lot of money. It's come after the elections, which was ridiculous to hold them, and then there was no notice, and the whole thing's just like a knee-jerk thing there, where you know, the scientific, say what advice Macron's doing, and that's it. He's just going to do, you know, he's been told by a scientific that that's what it's going to do. So we never hear from the scientific. He's unnamed, or a group, whatever. Just get them off the streets and make them fill out every day a complicated form and specify one of 4 things that they're going to do, which slightly overlap apart from the work. If you're going to go to work, you should have your boss sign it. You shouldn't. I mean the handling of this whole situation has been not great. There's no masks in the northeast. Way before the elections, where it said, yeah, we're going to hold those elections for democracy. There was, you know, a real problem with the flu, with this virus, in the northeast of France. So it's because of the election, it kind of exposed, I'm going to say, the underhanded way of doing things of this government. The French, the local election forced their hand and forced the state to be, part 3 of the way they are with the Gilets jaunes, for example. Like hard, using flash bombs, blinding people losing hands, the only police force in Europe, etc. Everyone knows that no one else uses those tactics. Very, very hard on protesters. And this is another example of kind of like the hardness of the state and the way the state acts in its own interest, and the farce of the having to hold those elections. And the subsequent, Monday at 8 o'clock, Macron comes on TV and says, yeah, that's it, from midday tomorrow, you can't be outside. I mean, come on. And then, you know, people on the radio that largely support him from within the government, hearing what they say, almost proud of the fact that as the French have, as a nation, have adopted the methods of China. I mean, you know, that's nothing to be fucking proud of, is it, particularly? And also China had a lot more time to suppress the problem, to deal with the problem, to manage the problem. Here it's just like, well, it's in Italy, it's getting big, it's massive, it's huge, it's in the northeast, it's this, that and the other, everyone knows about it. But we're going to have the elections, and then straight away, do you know what, that's it. Like China, but China didn't have a nationwide Chinese lockdown in 12 hours. And as I say, a lot of people who are fortunate, more fortunate than me, I'm not the most unfortunate. I mean, I've only got myself to look after. I'm living in my nice house. I'm happy where I am. But I'm not getting any money. And I can't really get out to earn money. And I can't earn money online from selling things. So I can't do private lessons. And I did think I would be able to because it's my work. But of course, I'm dealing with people. It's like, it's not just me. It's a lesson and it's contact and blah, blah. So that's stopped. My lessons have stopped. And but people who phone in generally, they're kind of like teachers, functionaries. They don't give their profession, but you can kind of tell that they're cadre. They've got their full salary being paid. Ils sont tranquilles, as we say. They are, they don't have problems financially, like many, many people are going to be having. And they're talking about all my bills, for example. I've got a taxe de foncière, 450 a year. Tax debitation, 150 a year, which basically is a TV license. And the radio. Water rates, the rubbish, 150. So I've got a stack of big bills to pay to the government. A government that hasn't got any masks, that hasn't had any for months. And he's out on the streets spending out on the streets with 100,000 gendarmes without masks themselves, taking everyone's paper, looking at it, reading it, fiddling with it, touching it, and then, that's contact with that. That's I'm going about to do something, and I'm just minding my own business, and I'm going to have minimal contact with anybody, and then I'm going to be forced to have an interaction with a member of the state, a fonctionnaire who has had countless interactions in the hours before that with God knows who, everybody else. So the logic of it is flawed, and I'm not happy about it. Anyway, it's day 2, and it'll be day 3 soon because it'll be gone midnight. So yeah, hang in there. We'll see what happens. And obviously, flu kills people. It's been doing it since time immemorial. And I can tell you that viruses are in the food chain from destruction of habitat, things like that. Bats, people coming into contact with stuff, this, that, and the other. That's one reason. And I'm not a mad Macron kind of like, we could all be driving electric cars in 5 years, or the planet's going to end, we lead from the front. I'm not one of that part of that brigade that want life as we know it to stop and everybody to use stone tablets. I mean, these people are just dreamers. These people have the biggest carbon footprint usually, lots of holidays and camping car and second home, and stop already with saving the planet, because as a group of people in France, we can do very little, and we're already pretty damn good. And I'll tell you another thing: if the government pulled their own socks up and stopped throwing away and forbidding people to actually recycle stuff and to reuse things at scrapyards, I mean, that'd be pretty good as well. But no, they don't. They just bin it, bury it at sea, bury it in. They'd rather bury it, and also they bury all sorts of things. They bury things that don't decompose very well. It's just like, that's the attitude of the government. Vintage amplifier, break it up. Don't fix it. Me and the government, I am quite critical. But yeah, catch you later.